the Jets as well. I just choose not to. I don't want to do that. But
You
yeah, it would be
don't want
the
to go fly around.
uh, no, no,
No,
that's not for me. But I anyway.
I
But
know
yeah,
you.
Well, welcome everybody to episode 22 of the Reptile Rejects podcast. This is our first repeat guest with Scott, but this
when
time
did
we
you
got
press
his better
live?
half, Ty Eipper, who's the main caretaker of the collection and also a really renowned Australian author with Scott. So, yeah, this should be
My
a
check's in the
fantastic
mail.
show.
Thanks
Go
for
buy the
having us,
books.
guys.
Awesome. We're glad to have you on.
Behind every good man is a woman leading everything, right?
Apparently, he's just got to listen.
Oh, we actually got 2 viewers, even though we didn't really announce that we are going to go live tonight. So that's fantastic. Alrighty, Dom, do you have anything new this week?
Anything new on my end? Honestly, I don't think there's that much. Like, I've stopped feeding a couple of weeks ago. I think maybe 1 or 2 animals now go to the washroom every week, and that's about it because everything's pretty much empty. So this is kind of like the lull of the season. You know what I mean? Like it's the 1 month where you stop feeding everything, everything empties, and then cooling season's coming soon. Trying to think now. Life is good, nice and quiet. Work is good, family life is good. So no, not much new. What about you? Anything new with you?
Not too much. I just I finally was able to send those sandbows out to my buddy Tyrone in Medicine Hat last week because the shipment didn't get booked or whatnot. Like I booked the shipment, but then it didn't go through, so I had to repack them, put them away for another half a week, and then ship them out again. And then last minute, I had to get my mom to drop them off at FedEx because the FedEx never showed up. So, but they got there. They were a little chilly, but all's good. So shipping is now basically over, I think, up here. So yeah. And then I sent one male Kentucky pine over to the island. It's gonna be over there tomorrow morning with my friend who's going on vacation. So she gets to drop it off with its new owner, who actually has a really nice book for me. It's like I think it's the 80s or 90s version of the Boas of the Caribbean book by Henderson. So that should be I can't wait to get that book because I got the new West Indian Boas book by it's like 2 or 3 years old now. I found that one awesome. So to get an older version is even better. So I always have to add to my very meager book collection compared to you guys. Yeah, and then today I put all the snakes down, all the colubrids down into brumation, except the male black pine is in shed. So I just had to leave him up for another week or 2 till he sheds out, and then put them all in the garage at I think 50. No, it's like a green book, but I think that same time period. So yeah, all those guys. Oh, and then I put the yellow spotted newts, the Nerugus crocatus. Those guys are also going into brumation because I want to try to actually breed them. No, it'd be the Caribbean West Indies boas, I think. And then yeah, so yeah, all those guys are in brumation, and then I'm gonna try to rearrange my room. I want to get the Angolan pythons that are in quarantine into a better display type setup in the 4-footers, even though they're not huge, but I want to start seeing them do some more naturalistic things, and then maybe bump up that one hold back female Kentucky because she's outgrowing her bin already pretty quickly. But yeah,
just by curiosity, when you say you're putting everything, all your colubrids in brumation, do you go from full warmth directly to garage instantly, or do you have some kind of a slow downward curve in temperature?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes it depends. Most of the time, I cut heat like a week ago, like just ambient, but ambient. I still had the heater going, so it's still 75 in there. I just took away their hotspot. Then I put them into their brumation bins at room temperature, which right now is like 66 or so. So in like a cooler part of the house for a few days, just to drop down for a couple days down to that temperature, and then I put them outside, which I don't even have a thermometer out there right now, but it's probably like 55, so like 10 degrees Celsius in the garage. Like not cold, but not hot either. So they'll be fine. My garage seems to stay at like a safe temperature even during freezes. So it's not
And
too bad. And it doesn't freeze for too long.
do you give them a certain amount of time to empty, or is it with colubrid it's not really a big
I
issue because they
gave
poop
these
so fast?
well, I don't know. Mine seem to hold on to poop for whatever reason. So I am sure some of them might poop in brumation. I gave them 3.5 weeks off food plus another week. So, but I have a feeling that some of the pine snakes might still poop, even though they should be cleared out by now. But last year they did. There was no issues, so I'm not too worried. And then yeah, so those will be good. Keep them down there for 3 months. I think the suboxen might only do 2 months, kind of thing, because those guys are more from like it's warmer in West Texas, but it does get cold, so they definitely still need a brumation, but probably don't need to exaggerate. I can just not feed them for a month once I bring them out, or bring them out a little more gradually, just bring them into the room and not really give them heat and not feed them for a month. So I'm not too worried with those guys. They seem to always want to go in. They'll start breeding in May, lay eggs in late June, so they seem to just choose their slot, so that shouldn't be too bad. And still no Bahama boa babies yet, so. But she's like thick, and I haven't fed her in like 2 weeks, and I've only been feeding her once every 3 weeks, and she's still looking pretty thick. So like, and it's not. I don't feel anything solid. So like, so hopefully they're not slugs.
Stay hopeful.
And the body sort of squarish.
Kind of. Like she's not ginormous though. Like I thought she would be more pronounced if she was, but like she's still like thick. So like I don't know. The last time when I got her, she was actually full of slugs. And it was hard to tell, kind of thing. Like she was thick, but I just thought she was fat, kind of thing. But like now that I know, like I palpated her back in July, I think, and you could definitely feel stuff in her. And now I tried to palpate her a bit, but she still wants to kind of kill me. So it's hard to tell. She's still feeding.
You can palpate follicles and stuff like that as well. And
yeah.
So it's kind of. It's kind of hard to explain with live bearers, but when you feel them, they feel firm, but they feel a little bit soft still, with regards to gravid ones. Whereas if they've got a whole heap of slugs, they feel hard.
Yeah.
All right, but you'll see the whole time the body sort of squares off. They're not just. It's not like a swelling from food or being fat or anything like that. When they're gravid, they get like a real square sort of appearance to them. And I think what that is, it's actually the line of the two oviducts, because you got the two oviducts that go down the snake like that. And each one of those has babies generating in it, and you end up getting an interspace between the two, and that's what squares it all off. And so they look almost sort of squarish or rectangular when they're in there. They sit like that as opposed to like that inside in each of the oviducts.
Yeah, I think now that I think about it, she does look square. Just not like, for some reason I thought she was going to be like massive, like obviously look like a bit more gravid. So yeah, like she definitely looks more square now compared to earlier. She was more almost like a loaf, where it was like thick, but like at the top you could see the kind of slugs or whatever.
The other thing that we see is, how they move, the babies don't move.
But I mean, having said that, we've all had snakes that we've put together and thought, fuck, she's tiny, and she's dropped. So
she's big.
Fingers crossed for you. Yeah.
Like she's like a 6 foot snake, kind of same size as like probably like a big rainbow boa kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. But the babies in Bahama boas are tiny. Like they have super tiny babies. Like she could, even though doesn't look super huge, she could probably still have 20, 25 babies easily.
When you say tiny, how's tiny for you?
Like a pencil kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so
not they barely eat pinkies, I'm pretty sure, out of it when they're born.
Like, so in other words, huge. Huge baby.
not Cuban boa huge. Cuban boas are like freaking eating small rats out of the mom.
Mate, you're talking to venomous people, right? We have babies that are like 1 gram or 1.5 grams.
Yeah, they're a little bit
right? Like the size of like a pygmy python.
Smaller.
Oh,
jeez.
Yeah.
A pygmy python. A
that long.
baby pygmy python can eat a baby pill to death.
Yeah, they were about that long, and the smallest was, I think, 1.2 grams.
Yes.
Yeah, because like a baby pygmy python's the smallest thing I've ever worked with, and they're what, maybe like 15 centimeters, 12 to 15
Yeah,
about 3
centimeters, which is
grams.
still, yeah,
It's
about 3 grams,
still tiny,
which
yeah.
sound right. It's still pretty small, but
about
anything smaller than that, I don't know how you do it, man. Like, it's
There was a
small.
lot of swearing. There was
What's even better is when you're force feeding them,
Oh, right.
and then you're trying to get them in between your fingers and force feed them. Not easy.
Come
So
on, Dom.
going
You ever
Sometimes.
watched Viper Keeper back in the day?
Actually, I have not. But going back to that, actually, how do you force feed a venomous snake, a neonate? Like, I'm actually really curious about that one, because are you like, I'm just thinking that every time I force fed carpet pythons and pygmies and all these things, I get teeth in my fingers all the time, right? Because I'm prying their mouth open. I'm often usually, I'll even take my finger and I'll put it in front of their lips and actually use a tooth to open up the mouth to push something in there, right? So obviously I would be a terrible venomous keeper, but how do you do
Lucky you're a paramedic.
it?
The force feeding thing is my headache, only because Pi's got glasses and her vision isn't quite as good as
I'm
mine.
really bad with it. I don't go and get my eyes done when I should, and then it gets to the point where Scott's like, "Come and help me," and I'm like, "My script's well overdue, and I know I need new glasses."
It's kind of one of those things that you need to have decent vision for, and a very steady hand. So essentially, you'll get the snake out. You'll go through and exhaust. We've got a fairly articulated process in how to get snakes feeding, and we talk about that in our Australasian Leopards book, book plug number 2. So and so basically what we'll do is we'll go through that process first. Once we've gone through that process, then we'll shift over onto assist feeding, and then after assist feeding, then we'll do force feeding. So for anyone that's listening, that isn't already aware, or people that are going to be listening after the fact, assist feeding is where you put the head of a prey item inside the mouth of a snake, and hopefully the snake just voluntarily swallows it. Force feeding is where you actually take the food item and actually push it down into the gullet, and down into the stomach. So what we'll do is we will force feed with freshly killed pinkies or pinky parts. We won't use frozen ones. There's a reason for that. If you try and force feed a frozen pinky, you'll end up with pinky mush all over your fingers. Whereas if you do one that's been freshly killed, the skin is a lot more resistant because it hasn't been broken down in the freezing process, and the cell walls haven't all broken down. So it is much easier, because a frozen defrosted pinky that's then been heated up, the water that sits within those cells crystallizes, and when it crystallizes, it actually breaks down, and so it's much easier to tear the skin on a frozen thawed pinky than a fresh one.
We breed our own rats and mice too.
Yeah, so that's a bit easier to see me now. But anyway, so from doing that, we will then go through, we'll force feed. So how do you actually force feed a venomous snake? You'll pin it. We'll use a disc pinner for the small stuff. So we have a soft pad underneath, and then we'll pin over the top. And then with the disc pinner, it's a clear piece of acrylic, and you can actually see where the head is. You'll allow the snake's head to come back out almost completely, and then you'll pick up the head behind the two pterygoid bones, and you'll hold the snake by the head, usually using a 2-finger grip. And then you'll have your pinky sitting there, and you'll also have a set of tweezers, fine pointed tweezers, and you'll use the fine pointed tweezers rather than your fingernail to open up your mouth like you would do with a python or something like that. Or you could use a speculum. Either one works fine. And then from that, then you can do your introduction of either a medicine or the actual pinky. Now, if you're using a pinky, I find that it's easier to use smaller pieces or smaller pinkies than what you would usually feed the animal, because it's a little bit less of a headache. But I'll usually do, if I'm getting to the point where I'm force feeding, I'm force feeding every 3 or 4 days, right? To get them out of that cycle really quickly. If they're still being force fed after a month, then I am seriously considering whether this is an animal that I want to assist with. And if that's the case, then if it's an animal that I don't necessarily need, then I'll seriously consider whether or not this is an animal that I want to keep working with. There's a tenet of ethical keeping of wildlife, which is the 5 freedoms: freedom from hunger, freedom from thirst, freedom from an adverse environment, freedom from stress, freedom from sickness. Right? It's the freedom from stress part is an important piece. If the animal is not willing to eat in captivity, right, when you're giving it everything it would usually need, that animal may not be an animal that is reproductively viable moving forward, right? Like you were saying before, Michael, that you've got a Bahama boa that's going to potentially drop 20, 30 babies. Not every single one of those Bahama boas is meant to get to adult size. There will be ones that have got birth defects. There will be ones that are just plain daft. They're retarded. They're just not going to do what they're meant to do.
There's that word.
They will come out and they will sit on a branch in the middle of the day and they will get eaten by a bird. All right. And they don't produce that genetic line that of snakes that go and sits out there to get eaten by birds doesn't stay in the system.
Having said that, though, we had I think it was a flooding. It was an adder 1 year, and it refused to eat or drink. This was a very long time ago. It refused to eat or drink. We were feeding it and drinking it for 2 years. It turned out to be absolute. If he'd gotten his way, he would have knocked it. There was no way he would have kept it. And I was like, nah, look at it, nah. It turned out to be absolutely stunning and a top breeder. So we have different views here.
If I had my way, I'd never breed this again.
And he didn't get his way.
Yeah. I was going to say, I look at it as when I first started breeding many, many years back, everything survived. Everything was assist fed, then force fed. And now I'm at the point where I don't remember even the last time where I've assist fed, except for animals that were feeding them the wrong prey source. Like, for example, pygmy pythons. Pygmy pythons, you need to assist feed because I don't have little tiny lizards running around everywhere, and it's just not their food source, right? But like, I produce maybe 100 plus baby carpet pythons, and out of all of them, I still have only 2 that are not eating, and I still have not even assist fed, and they were born in May, and we're looking at 5 months now that they haven't eaten, and they're neonates. And I figure at some point they're either going to eat and turn on, or they're not going to make it. And there's a part of me that just feels like if they're not going to make it, then they're not made for captivity and for reproduction. And I kind of feel like it's wrong. Like there's a part of me that doesn't like doing it. That even if it was the best animals or the highest end animal, like if you got to force feed an animal that's been in captivity and for all intents and purposes considered domesticated because there's so many generations in, it should be eating by now. It's probably like its progeny, the next offspring should be eating, and they're not eating. Then maybe I don't want those ones to survive. Maybe you don't want them to reproduce. Anyway, that's my thought. I don't know if I'm kind of siding with Ty there. Sorry.
No, Scott.
Scott. I mean, sorry. It's because I'm looking at Scott, but the name Ty is right over Scott. I
So the other part too, the other part with that is that you are also breeding. If you're keeping those animals, you're breeding animals that don't want to eat. You know, just like we can select for color, we select for behavior, we select for traits. Okay, so you know, one of the things that we do when we get all of our babies, we'll get all of the females and we'll get all of the males and we'll put them all in together. All right. And there's a reason why you do that. You know, I'm not sure if you do it with carpet pythons or anything else, but we do it for a very distinct reason, is that we want to look into that. And if you're looking at all the females and all the males in 2 separate enclosures, you can go, That's the standout. That's the standout. They're the two that I want, right? So then what I'll do at that point is then I will seriously consider putting in a couple of pink mice into that grouping, and then I will actually take out the two that are fat the following day. So the two animals that have eaten the mice overnight, they're the ones I want. I'm not interested in the ones that don't eat. So I'm not worried about the colour. The colour you can breed back in later. I want to select for positive feeding responses, and I want them to eat the stuff that I want to feed them, right? So you can get animals that are like, I remember when I first started breeding spotted pythons and stuff like that back in the early 90s, right? Spotted pythons were a pain in the ass to get going, right? Of the 12 hatchlings that you get out of a clutch, 11 out of them you would be force feeding, right? Now with spotted pythons, certainly most people that I talk to these days with their spotted pythons, it's unusual in 2 or 3 clutches for them to have one that needs to be force fed.
That's what I
Most
was
of them
gonna
will
say.
eat voluntarily straight away. And it's the
I've
same
bred
thing with
spotteds.
carpets.
Yes, all my spotteds ate no problem. They were easier. Not one of them refused their first meal. It was a joke.
With taipans like that, taipans I reckon are the easiest things to get going.
Taipans are the easiest ones to get going because they're rat eaters. That's what they eat.
It's rare for a hatchling, a taipan not to eat.
Yeah.
It's really rare.
Oh yeah,
And
my
again,
Kentucky
if your
pines are
taipan's
the
not
same.
eating, you don't. What was that? Sorry.
My pine snakes are the same. They just take frozen thawed mice right off the bat. You might get one that wants live kind of thing, but they eat every single time right out of the egg.
So,
and it's so good. There's no hours and hours and hours of game of statues sort of thing. Don't move, don't sneeze, don't anything. It's
one of the most common snakes in the morph market these days is a amphibian specialist, right? Western hognose snakes are amphibian specialists. They're not designed to eat rodents at all. They're designed, their dentition, the xenodentine dentition is specifically designed to pop toads when they inflate, right? So they're toad specialists. And yet most Western hognose snakes that are bred these days never see a toad ever. Okay.
Yeah.
But you talk to those same people about, those same hognose keepers that are trying to keep Eastern hognoses or Mexican hognoses or Southern hognoses or something like that, whether it be Simius or Platyrhinos or whatever, they have trouble getting those to go because those ones only want to eat frogs, right? Because that's what they're designed to eat. So until they've been domesticated to a point, a lot of these things are a lot harder than what they were. So getting back to it with the force feeding, you stick the head of the pink mouse or the pink rat, depending on what it is, inside their mouth. You usually try and get it behind the fangs, so the fangs will actually hold it in place for you, and then you will gently push with constant pressure, have it go down, right? Now, I usually wet the pinky a little bit first. It sort of helps lubricate it a little bit. Bit of lubrication makes things a lot easier, a lot more fun. I can say that because I'm sitting here with my wife. And so we'll slide it down the passage, and then hopefully it goes in without too much of a bump.
what are we talking about?
We're talking mice, baby.
It's
and
an
then
adult
so
show.
once that. So once you've got it down, then what I'll often do, depending on if it's I'll use really small prey items, but I might do multiples. So I'll end up pushing down another pinky straight down, but I'll push it down with the head of the pinky will go into the bum of the other pinky in front of it. And the whole idea of that is so it actually goes down. I'll usually only do 2 at a time. Any more than that, and then you're starting to get to a point where you might have issues with the animals where if the pinky sits where the heart is or anything like that, you can actually get heart issues, all sorts of stuff. So I'm very cognizant of the size of the prey item. I'd rather feed it more frequently when you're force feeding than
Larger
really big,
journey.
large meals. The only other thing that you've got to be very careful about is your finger placement when you're doing all of this. All right. You need to hold the head of a venomous snake in such a way that it can't turn to bite you. But you also need to relax your grip enough that allows the pinky to pass through inside the jaws of the snake. So that means that you actually have to loosen your finger off a little bit as you feel the pinky hit it. If you're not careful, that is when people make a lot of mistakes. And then the other thing is you always repin as well. You never drop and release or anything like that. You always repin the snake before you put it back in, because if you don't do it like that, you'll end up getting a fang in your finger. So yeah, fun and games of force feeding venomous snakes.
So simply putting it down and just pulling your arms like that is just a very dangerous technique. You're not that
fast enough.
Yeah. It's
You're
funny
not fast enough. The fast.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I feel like any person who's worked with snakes that are non-venomous would be literally the worst students ever, because that's exactly what I would be. I'd be like, and we're done.
Yeah. I used to say all the venomous snakes came with Scott. I didn't have anything venomous before Scott. And he would turn up and I'd be feeding something, lose my concentration because he's talking to me, turn around, he's like, what are you doing? And I had that snake hanging off me, or I just let one bite me while I was getting it used to handling. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's a python. And he's like, nah, lose that headset. And he was right.
I don't believe that's recorded.
What? You were right.
It is recorded. You can use it later. We'll play it in a loop.
Who was here on time? Just saying.
He was here on time, unlike Phil half the time.
So yeah, long story cut in half though, what I was saying spot on, right? You get into a mindset where when I open an enclosure or entire the enclosure, we open it assuming that it's a venomous snake, knowing full well what is in there because we have removable labels on the enclosures and stuff like that, so we know what's in there at the times. We also have a whiteboard in the herp room too, because we're married, we don't talk to each other.
We don't tend to clean and do stuff like that together because I infuriate the fuck out of him. He's very anally retentive. He does things a certain way. It's got to be done this way. He's a planner. I'm really not. I'll walk in there and one day I'll start with whatever's dirtiest, whatever I want to play with, what I want to take photos of. It just depends on the day. Whereas Scott will start at that corner and just work his way through. And if he comes in when I've been cleaning and he's like, what's been done? I'm like, one, and he's like, get out. So yeah, we don't tend to.
I don't want to side with anybody, but Scott, I do the exact same thing. I start from one and I go left and I do young to old and I've got all my little planning technique. I couldn't. So it's actually a really good thing. I'm actually really curious. So you guys have a pretty extensive collection. How does it work when you're two? Because all I'm thinking is, well, I move snakes from here to there. Oh, this one needs to be upgraded. I make all these choices without even ever talking to anybody about it, right? But in this case, is certain parts of the collection more Scott's, certain parts more Ty's? Are you guys like, you're in charge of this, you decide this, Scott, don't fucking touch this, you're not allowed here? Like, how does it work? Or is it just everybody's and we do whatever we want and then take the heat from the other after?
The only snakes that we've got that I do everything with are the brown snakes.
I don't really like Sydney that much.
So it's the browns that are all my headache. And I suppose the taipans as well, more my headache for the most part. Only because they're we've got a couple in particular that are very spirited.
And if he's offering to do the lot, I'm not going to say no.
And their enclosures happen to be sitting right next to the brown snakes. So when I'm working those enclosures, I'll do that whole bank at the same time usually. So so when I'm doing that bank of enclosures, invariably I end up doing the taipans at the same time.
I think the worst thing is there's no one to say no. like we can just bring stuff home, and we know the other one may be like, what the fuck, but it's not going to be an issue.
Why did you only bring home 2? Why not?
Yeah,
5?
it's like you add each other on. So a lot of people are like, oh, it must be so cool. It sort of is and it isn't, because then it's like, oh, now we need to build another enclosure, or we need to buy another enclosure, or we need to, get more rats going, or whatever. Or yeah, like neither one of us really say no to each other. So I think both of us were told no enough as a child. So as an adult, I'll be fucked if I'm told. And yeah, I sort of think the same thing for him. So if he wants it, what's one more mouth to feed when there's that many? What's 2 or 3 more mouths to feed when there's that many already?
I think the other thing too that goes with that is that we both, I'm sure Michael and I'm sure Dom, that if I was to ask you, what do you want? What is on your list of, if someone had one of these tomorrow, what would you be getting? Right? Well, that's twofold. Right? So if I've got things that I'm after, Ty's got things that she's after. And so if they come up, both of us are like, oh, okay, fair enough. But I suppose it also means that we keep an eye out for each other as well. So, if I know that Ty's after X, then I'll keep an eye out for that as well. So, I'm after some Western Blueies and some Central Blueies at the moment. As opposed to Venomous,
I'm after another 3D printer, but that isn't happening. But anyway,
I've kept all the Venomous that I wanted to keep, with the exception of 2 species that one's not in captivity essentially, and the other one's barely in captivity. So, so if those 2 come up, then yeah, I'll grab them. But other than that,
I want a few more tree snakes.
I want some blue tongues, more blue tongues. So Ty wants tree snakes. So.
So Scott, are you the? I'm guessing you're the skink guy and the lizard guy, for the most. Well, obviously you guys both wanted parentes, but like, I'm surprised that you don't even have Western or Central blue tongues.
I didn't want parentes.
No, blueies are all on my license. Oh no, there's a couple on yours. The Cunninghams are on my license.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff's on your permit, and my stuff's on the other one. But I tend to like, as I've got older, I seem to like blue tongues more so than some of the other things. We've always had blue tongues and stuff. I've been keeping blue tongues now for 41 years. So
you old motherfucker.
Yeah. I've been doing it a very long time. And I got rid of my Central Blueies 20 years ago, and it's one of those things that I was like, I always wanted to get them back. So that's on the list. So I want Central Blueies and Western Blueies. So
yeah, those are.
It's hard
those
too because Sorry.
Sorry, you see, was it Don Patterson produced 2 Exantics and a hypo Western Bluey, I think, this year, and he's like an hour away from me. Well, but a ferry ride as well to the island. But it's like, wow, those are a fantastic looking animal, although a little out of the price range. But like even like northern blue tongues are freaking beautiful, especially some of the ones that have been around, like are part of the hobby for 20, 30 years now. Like they got some really nice colors, and even just the variation, right? You get some super light and some more. I'm not even sure what a normal one would look like, kind of thing. Like they're all different, right? Like they all, like you can line breed them and stuff. But yeah, blue tongues I think are still underrated.
I was going to ask the blue tongue market. Sorry, the blue tongue over there in Australia, is it all the same thing? Do you guys have all the similar morphs that are in North America?
Oh,
or is it...
Oh, they'd have more.
Even more?
There's more morphs in blue tongues now than there is in all pythons combined in Australia.
You could come on a working holiday, Dom.
I was going to say, just Australia, right? Not ball pythons, though.
Yeah, so, well, we don't keep ball pythons.
I know.
So, but there's 4 gene, 5 gene type, 3 gene. There's quite a few 3 gene animals now that are being produced. I mean, Joe Ball, who lives on the Sunshine Coast, Robbins Reptiles. Who else? There's a few others that are doing some blue tongue morphs. They've really sort of taken on the blue tongue morph projects, I suppose, and they've started off. We've got we've had melanistics and albinos in the system now for 20 plus years. There's been hypos, xanthics, lavenders, snows, hypo albino things that they call lavas, and then you've got things that they put across. It's absolutely nuts, the amount of mutations that we're seeing, and they're in a lot of them are actually technically subspecies hybrids. So you've got intermediate cross with skincoides. There are also morphs in blotch blue tongues. There's morphs in central blueies. There's morphs in some shinglebacks as well as albinism and calicos and lipomelanistics and stripes and all those sorts of things. So it's a huge market.
I do believe there's a
Yeah.
Goldfields that's almost pure orange.
Yeah. Well, there you go. An all orange Goldfields. You imagine a fluorescent orange shingleback. That would be pretty incredible. So that's multifasciata. That's the Centralian blue tongue. And yeah, we can show some photos if you want to put some pics up. But then on top
if
of
you guys
that,
want to send some to me, I can probably throw some up.
Yeah, we can probably do that. How do I send you photos?
If you could email it to me, gillansons@gmail.com.
All right. Well, I'll do that in a second. I'll send some. But yeah, so to answer Lisa's question in regards to Central Australian blue tongues rare in captivity. Yes, over here they are pretty rare in captivity. The reason is that they've got a fairly low fecundity. They sort of produce anywhere between 2 and 9 babies. But the females can be particularly savage. And
it would just be the male she's paired with, just saying.
Oh, good. Could do that. So there is a chance that sometimes when you pair them, they can be quite brutal towards each other and cause issues. So the market exceeds the availability, shall we say? And so as a result, the prices go up. So yeah, Central Blue is a beautiful thing, but not enough for captivity.
$1,000, 2,000. What's their price tag? Like even the morph-wise, I'm just kind of curious, especially since your Aussie dollar is basically almost on par with Canadian dollars. So I'm kind of curious to see what price tag are we talking about?
Look, it depends. Most of the morph stuff is upwards of $500, I suppose. Albinos are, it depends on thing, around $1,000 for a basic albino. When you've got something that's got extra genes in it and all the rest of it, you start to seriously go up in value. Both the melanistics and the albinos are very popular. And so
because they've been around for a while, they're not as expensive as some of the others.
Yeah. Probably anywhere upwards of $1,000 for central blue tongues. Occipitalis are a little bit less. Probably depending on where their locality is will then depend on how striking they are, and then depending on how striking they are will then sort of factor into the value of them. So Occipitalis anywhere from about $500 through to $1,500 depending on the location. So Alpine blotchies,
they're like 10 grand here if you can even find them.
Yeah,
but there's only blotchies. Don's the only one with them. So
Alpine blotchies are anywhere from
that'd be my favorite,
200 through to to $1,000, depending on the quality, how much orange is in it, etc., etc. If it's got mutations attached to it as well, then some of those things that could be name your price. So the blue tongue market is really good because the animals are relatively robust and fairly well suited to captivity. They aren't venomous. The thing that's really good about them from a person point of view often is that there's a lot of people out there that don't want snakes, don't want to have snakes. It's hard to convince mum or dad that they want a pet snake.
And they're not picky eaters. They're a good starter animal.
It's a bit easier with the blue tongue lizard. The other thing that's amazing about blue tongue lizards, very similar to ball pythons as well, and a number of others, is they're not overly large in size. So they are an animal that you can keep relatively simply in captivity, and they do deal with periodic handling quite well as well in most cases. Every now and then you get one that's just a bit of an ass, but generally speaking, you can hand a blue tongue across to a kid, and as long as the kid is gentle, that blue tongue will be quite happy sitting on the person's lap and all the rest of it. So they are amazing lizards to work with. I think they are 1,000 times better than bearded dragons as a keep.
100%
for keeping.
Yeah, here they're
very hard to have somebody. Sorry.
We hear it's like the same thing. It's like, oh, you should get lots of people get bearded dragons as their first pet, and it's like a leopard gecko might be a better choice. Like people, I don't know why, but people still try to push bearded dragons or pet stores maybe, and maybe it's mostly just the chain ones now because I feel like I remember working in a pet store 5 years ago, and we definitely brought in a lot of bearded dragons still, but it was probably not as bad as it was 10, 15 years ago when we were really pushing bearded dragons. But even then, leopard geckos have kind of died down in popularity here too, which were a solid, you can keep it in a 20 long and it'll live 25 years if you take care of it right, kind of thing. Well,
I think
blueies have kind of caught on here. Actually, I think they almost saturated the market 5 years ago, but now it's kind of hovered at a good spot for northerns, at least, with some Indo stuff still coming in occasionally. Some people should probably start trying to breed more Indo stuff captive. But yeah, northern blue tongues still go $400 to $500 a piece pretty easily.
I think they are the next big thing in reptile loss.
That's your prediction?
I think they are bigger. They have the ability to be ball python-esque in their market. The one disadvantage that they have over bearded dragons is their fecundity. They are, because they're live bearers. It's not the sort of thing that you're going to get 2 clutches a year out of. They take a little bit longer to get to maturity. They do take a little bit longer, and they're live bearers, right? You can breed them every year, but you're going to
shorten their lifespan.
In some cases, you're going to have issues with that. But I know there's albinos now in the States. I know there's melanistics in the States. They fall through that weird portal that comes out of Australia occasionally, and just happens to appear over in the US, and Europe. So I think buckle up, it's on its way. The other thing that I think that will be coming is that as soon as somebody finds an albino gigas or something like that in Indonesia, and that gets out, it'll be ball pythons all over again with regards to them. And then the other part is that your legislators will have issues with snakes. They have a lot less issues with lizards.
Oh yeah, actually, there's some dumb city bylaws that say, what is it? One was you have to keep the snake and the lizard have to be under 2 feet. I think one town was, but most of them are your lizard has to be under 1 meter or under 2 meters.
Yeah,
and then your snakes have to be under 2 meters. Okay, yeah.
So,
some do the same across the board for snakes and lizards, and some change it per one. But then, yeah.
Yeah. And they're trying to exclude things like crocodile monitors and savanna monitors and massive green iguanas and things like that. So there's method in their madness there, but blue tongue is not going to, generally speaking, is never going to reach a meter in length, and so it's not going to hit that real headache sort of threshold, I suppose. If a single county or a municipality or province has got a requirement for keeping lizards below 2 feet, I hazard to get that same province is also going to have some pretty restrictive laws when it comes to working with pythons or anything else as well. So
I think too, as an escapee, a blue tongue isn't that bad as an escapee.
well, yeah, a blue tongue escapes in Canada, and unless it's an alpine blotchy or something like that, it ain't getting through the first winter.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think the only province that would probably not allow blue tongues might be Saskatchewan, but they might allow some of them. They have a positive list in it, which is like a really dumb positive list because they grabbed somebody's Massasauga imports. Somebody in Saskatchewan or a nearby province just like handed the guy like that week's list of what was on the list of stuff that you could order for your pet store, and that's what they half of that was what they put on the list. So like there's like two-toed siren and like some like random like marbled salamander, like stuff that's not even like really kept in the hobby is on that list. But then they allowed black-headed pythons and green trees and ball pythons, so that those, because they used to ban all of that, but they still don't allow any boas other than like sand boas, I think. Saskatchewan used to be like no pythons or boas at all, but you could keep an alligator. So like they redid their laws, but in a dumb way, and somebody gave them a dumb list and didn't actually consult them when they were looking for consultation. So that they kind of messed that one up.
Yeah, but laws fluctuate. Like here, 15 years ago in my city, which is the capital of Canada, it was no crocodiles and alligators, but you could keep a caiman legally, right? So there's a lot of things that just sometimes are just done by people, and our laws have changed ever since the local reptile zoo fought to change all the laws, and our laws went because of them. So they removed the crocodiles and alligators to just all crocodilians are illegal. They changed pythons and boas are 2 meters max. Colubrids are 3 meters. Lizards are 1 meter. I don't think there's any rules on tortoises or turtles. There's no indigenous species. Like, to me, they're reasonable. They're not great, but they're reasonable. You can work with it. I wanted to go back to what Scott you said about fecundity. If you look at fecundity, if you take ball pythons, which is one of the most popular species, they only breed once a year, and they have like 6 to 10 eggs max, which is not a python that pops out. Like lots more pythons pop out way more eggs than that, right? And you look at how many animals are for sale. Like they're everywhere, right? Outside of Australia, they're literally everywhere. So you're talking about blue tongue skinks. I don't know what their clutch size is. I imagine they have what, 4, 6 live youngs.
It depends on the species. So
Yeah.
And always
skincoides and intermedia. Average litter size is anywhere between 12 and 16, I suppose.
You could get a lot out of
is
that.
usually
They're
small as well.
fairly small babies. Nigra lutea, which is the blotch blue tongues, is anywhere from 2 to 6, 2 to 7. Multifasciata is similar to that as well. Occipitalis is also like that. The West Blueies. Shinglebacks have got the lowest. 1, 2, 3.
I've heard of
1 and
4,
2.
but it's been rare.
1 and 2 is probably the most common. 3 is occasional, and then exceptionally you'll get a 4. Sometimes you'll get 4. Gigas we've never worked with, so I can't tell you Gigas, but Cyclodomorphus, which are closely related to the pink tongue skinks. Pink tongues can have up to 50 babies, 40, 50 babies, right? And they're tiny, but they grow so fast. And
Oh yeah.
incredible. Absolutely incredible lizards. You can keep them in like bioactive enclosures, and they're found in rainforests. They sleek around their enclosures. They're very interesting captives. They've got prehensile tails on them. Like they're an amazing lizard, and they are kept overseas. They are kept in the US a little bit.
Not mine.
Oh yeah, we got them here. I know my buddies get people who get litters and they resell them, and I thought they were bigger. Like I know pink tongues aren't huge, but for some reason I always saw them for sale at like this big. But then they had them. They were like that big. I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah,
I think
but
they're not common.
they get to that big in like a month, and then
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they do grow up very, very fast.
But I think they're not common because they prefer to hide. It's not a animal that you will see in your enclosure if you have your enclosure done up right.
Unless you go in there at night. You go there at night and they're everywhere at night. They walk all over the enclosures at night. They're amazing.
Oh yeah, I love my nocturnal stuff. It's like even the catfish I breed. I got some little wood cats that I finally bred after keeping one for like 7 years. And yeah, no, it's like during the day they're all hidden in the logs and stuff, and then like I have like 2 batches of eggs in each tank, and then there's 150 catfish all swarming around at night, throwing some food, and they're all going. It's super neat to see how stuff. Oh, they don't do it. That's why when like you hear people say, "Oh, well, it doesn't do anything, so I just keep it in a tub." It's like, well, it doesn't do anything when you're happen to walk by it the once per day,
Yes.
right? Like, or
Yeah.
you say you work all day and you come home and it's a diurnal animal, and it's like, well, it could have come out to bask 4 times while you were away, and then already kind of did its thing and went away, right? Like half my pine snakes, I see that they've made patted down some spots, and they do their thing during the day, and when I come home they're back in their hide, right? Like you don't just because you don't see it do something doesn't mean it's not actually doing something. And then obviously at night too, they're like the pink tongues, they'll cruise around just like a crested gecko, I assume, because cresteds are also like at night they're all over their enclosure too.
Put yourself a Govey camera and put Govey cameras inside your enclosures if you want to see some of the cryptic stuff moving around. It's incredible how much they do move around when you're not watching. So yeah. But I'm also mindful of Dom, because I know Dom's going to jump out fairly soon. Because like everybody, he's got to work, and start very early. When we can't all be like Michael and getting in there in the early afternoon. So, Dom, is there any particular questions, mate, that you'd like to hit on? Probably more with Ty than me. So,
unlike Mike, I don't plan anything. I just wing it and see where the conversation takes us. So, I was gonna say I'm loving this. So to me, it's all the same thing. Actually, the one thing I was gonna go back on is you guys talked about shingleback skinks, and what always surprised me about that is they have such low numbers. That why is it that every time I hear people talk about the wild shinglebacks, and everybody describes it as them being everywhere? Do they have natural predators, or why is there so many in the wild? Like every time I've heard people, it's like, oh, we stopped for 1, we stopped for 2, we saw 40, we saw, and I'm just curious because to me, an animal that reproduces 1 offspring or 2 offsprings a year should have very low numbers in the wild, right? You take a look at all the very large animals that have very low fecundity. There's never lots of them. So I don't know. I'm just curious as to the why.
So I think probably the best way to describe it is like an elephant, right? They have a very high chance of reaching adulthood once they are born. Okay, so that's probably one of the reasons why.
I think too they're a well-loved lizard here, so obviously it's location too. Some locations are going to have a lot more than others. People will stop for them. People still don't swerve to hit a snake here. They will run over it quite happily if they're not reptile people. Yet a lizard's different.
Particularly a shingleback. I mean, they're pretty enigmatic lizards. They're fairly slow moving and stuff like that. For 2 months a year, mum and the males and females. The females trailing is closely being pursued by the male for a long time. For 2 months of the year they're followed. So you do see them moving around together. And one of the saddest things I've ever had to witness was a shingleback that his partner had been hit, and it was trying to nudge the other one off the road that had been hit by another car. So,
it's horrible. And
then for 3 days, that shingleback was hanging around trying to get its partner off the road until it realised that that was it. It was done. So,
and stories like that do occasionally hit the news like that here. So I think people are more cautious around blue tongues and shinglebacks because they know they're not going to harm you. There's no
they're well
trying to
loved.
word it here.
They're well loved in the Australian side.
There's no people getting on the news saying, "Oh my God, there's a snake invasion. They're worse this year than ever." Rah rah rah. So that doesn't happen with the lizards. So they're a bit more respected. They're a bit more.
I think you talk to anyone on a farm and stuff like that. Everyone basically got a soft spot for a blue-tongued lizard or a shingleback.
Well, they eat the pests. Yeah, no, they're fine. They're not going to kill the horses or the cattle or
people's strawberry patches get absolutely decimated by shinglebacks and blue tongues and stuff like that, and they go, "Oh, that's all right. It's a blue tongue that's knocked off some strawberries or something like that." They're okay with it.
But I can promise you don't drive around everywhere and see a ton of them.
It depends. Some locations are sometimes incredibly prominent, and then other times, you'd never believe they were there.
Yeah.
How do you guys set up? Obviously, I'm assuming you keep your blue tongues and skinks, like basically all of them outside, right?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
How do you guys have them set up with that? And then I'll ask the question afterwards.
So we've got outdoor pits. When we did the outdoor pits, we did them as we were going to put a monitor in every single pit. So the ground is concreted, it's escape proof. All of our pits have lids, whether they're monitor pits or not. Neighborhood cats, birds, toads. So it's all escape proof. What was the question? Sorry.
So how else are they designed? So they all have a roof over the top of them as well to stop too much rain getting in.
Sun cover.
With shade sails up over summer to remove the amount of heat. And then in winter, they've all got thermal refuges as well, which they can use in summer. They've got hay and straw and stuff like that inside dry boxes that are buried into the ground.
They're full of cockroaches. I don't go in them.
And the whole idea of that is so that the animals have got somewhere as a thermal refuge at any time, so they can always get away from the heat. They can also get away from the cold too.
Being closed.
Footprint size is 2.4 meters by 1.2 meters by 1.2 meters high. And of that 1.2 meters high, you've got 100 mil of concrete, 250 mil of drainage gravel, and then you've got about 300 mil of substrate. So on top of that, if you can imagine that 1200 actually comes up to the pit base is only 600 high, I suppose, off the lid, and then it's got
rocks, like not rocks, boulders
and things
big
like that,
blobs and stuff like that.
The whole lot.
There's always 2 to 3 food bowls, so that they've all got different areas to go feed. I tend to put the bowls in the same spot. Scott doesn't. There's a massive kitty litter tray, which is the water bowl. There's a rock in the kitty litter tray. Different food all the time.
So, and then we also,
when you just do it, you don't think about it, and someone asks you, and you're like, "Oh, hang on, how do I do it?"
Oh yeah.
Food, we mix up the diets, but then also too we supplement food as well. They've got access to UV light at all times, obviously being outside.
Plus the natural bugs that get in, plus what we feed.
We don't use pest control here, so if insects and stuff like that happen to fall in, we don't have any issues with that. Getting sort of some additional supplementary meals.
We're Spanish daisy growing wild, and they love it. When we moved in, we can't get rid of it, and it's everywhere because we've been behind writing, so we haven't been as on to. Oh, Singapore daisy. Sorry, it's totally different plant. Singapore daisy. My bad.
And so we'll use those, and so they'll get flowers, dandelions as well, fresh fruit, snails, meat, pinky mice. I love pinky mice. Jesus Christ.
Broth, vegetables. They very occasionally get dog food. Not the loaf, the casserole, and that's just for something different.
And then you'll make up like gel foods as well. So we can't get. I think it is rapashi over there.
Yeah, the bluey buffet,
we can't get rapashi here.
I heard. I don't know how true it was, but I heard that customs wanted subsequential numbers on the barcodes when they came in, and who's got the time to do that? Like, you just pull from a batch and fill your orders out. So
So basically, to import that over here was almost impossible. So, so we're trying makes those same sorts of foods as well, because we want to try different things as well. We don't just want to pigeonhole our lizards, so to speak, and only give them this particular Catholic diet. The whole idea is to give the animals a little bit of variety and improve their well-being.
Not only is it better for them, but we've all been caught short where we don't have like a favourite food. We also give them baby food. I don't want them getting fussy on one food, not being able to get it, and then them not wanting to eat. So
well, we'll also occasionally get things like locusts or something like that as well, right? And crickets and mealworms and things like that. We'll throw those in there occasionally.
And the hides fill up with roaches, so there's plenty of them.
There's always roaches there for them as well. And we find that it really does help these animals to have that varied diet. Gives them something different.
When I do the vegetables and whatnot, I put in, it's called Vetafarm maintenance pellets, and they're flavoured. I checked with Vetafarm. I checked with them when they were making it, because my background's pet shop. I used to manage pet shops. I blend them up because I've got nothing else to do. They're picky. If I leave the whole pellets in, they won't eat it. They can come out after winter and they look like they were fed yesterday. They breed every year on them, and I offer them to just about every skink we have, and they all eat them.
So just by curiosity, when you're talking about keeping them outside, I've always wondered, what does the cleaning look like? So are you actually cleaning out cages?
It's brilliant.
Okay, so that's what I was curious. Like, are you just removing are you even removing like uneaten veggies out of there, or nothing? You just leave everything?
Yeah, we'll remove uneaten food stuff.
And your substrate is just...
come out.
What's your substrate? Is it just the regular dirt you find outside that you toss over your drainage layer?
So that's the main part of it, but then we supplement it, right? So we change it over a little bit, and because we've got live plants and leaf litter in there, it's got a pretty good microbe balance that's breaking stuff down. The other thing that we do as well is that we have quite low numbers in those large enclosures as well, right? So, it's 3 or 4 lizards in a 8 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot enclosure, right? It's a fairly large area for those lizards to go in. If you had more numbers than that, then you start to have issues with regards to the soil starting to become toxic and stuff like that through too much urate or too much fecal matter, and the bioactivity doesn't sort of keep up. We do wash them down as well. I'll get out there with the hose and I'll clean off the dust. I'll wash out the water bowls. So to say that there's no cleaning isn't quite right.
School is closed, but no isn't.
Yeah, we're not having to maintain them to the same workload as, say, a snake in a plastic tub that is on paper.
Large sheds are taken out. Their poos are quite solid, so you just take them out. They're easy enough to grab and chuck into the lawn. So yeah.
And that's the other thing. We'll literally take the sheds out and just put them onto the lawn in front, right? And then when I go along with the mower, when I'm mowing the lawns, I'll just mow up all the sheds at the same time. The sheds just go into the grass, and that's it. gone.
And the dog
Nice.
hovers when you take the food bowls out. So
wait for drops. Wait for if anything falls off.
pretty much.
With the diet, are you trying to are you going more protein heavy or more vegetable matter kind of thing, or is it just like a 50-50 by
Like
the
a
day?
50-50 there.
When you look at the wild studies in herbivory, the diet of most blue tongues, and it is variable between the species, but essentially, as a general rule, they're about 70% vegetable matter. But that can be as high as 95% at certain times of the year and as low as 15% at other times of the year. So there might be a boom in grasshoppers at one particular time, right? So they'll go ahead and they'll eat all the grasshoppers they come in contact with because they're not sure when they're getting another meal, right? So they're not going to not eat something. There might be another plant that's producing berries at the time, so they'll go through and they'll eat all of those berries. They will eat leaves and things like that at different times. They'll eat flowers at different times. They'll eat insects, and so they'll go through these sort of periodic changes. Whereas in captivity, we have our essential maintenance diet that we're feeding them, and then on top of that, then we will use different foods as enrichment for the animals. Enrichment, something that isn't spoken about so much in reptile keeping. It's something that we're sort of pushing along those lines, along with some others, because it is part of the tenets of the 5 freedoms for animals. It's freedom from boredom, right? Giving that animal some various stimuli to look at different things breaks up the monotony of their life, I suppose. So, a food is something you can do there to help with that. And you can actually put food into puzzle feeders and stuff like that with blue tongue lizards, and they will figure out how to open up those puzzle feeders.
They climb, so you can put them up higher as well.
Yeah. So, particularly with things like pine snakes and stuff like that, they do well with things like puzzle feeding things. Mambas do well with puzzle feeding things. A lot of colubrids and colubroids are like that. I believe that you could probably do the same thing with a lot of pythons as well. And having something that helps mentally stimulate those animals may help with their well-being. If it helps with their well-being, really going to improve their chances of breeding as well.
Oh, for sure. And I'm that you talking about the puzzle feeder thing with the pines, like, almost makes me want to, like, come up with, like, something, like, obviously, like, you're not going to fit a medium rat in a puzzle feeder, but
you use pinky rats.
Exactly. Yeah. Or I could even, I feel like I could even come up with, like, make like a homemade puzzle feeder thing somehow, or be able to put it in something that's, like, difficult to get into, and put, like, a couple adult mice or something, right? In something like that, or
So
even like do like a medium rat thing, but like make it difficult to get in and get it, right? Like a
So
tunnel.
what I was saying with Pituophis is that they've done pinky rats and stuff like that, and then they've done fish as well, right? Like pieces of whiting or small pieces of fish. They've used some chicken necks and stuff like that as another option as well. So there's a number of things that you can put in there that the snake can use, and they figure it out pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. The pines are smart. They're definitely one of those snakes. Even though subox, I think would utilize it. Some of mine are a bit more timid. I would say, like, they only, like, one of my females that had the eggs. She never takes food off a tongs. You have to place it there for her, and then she'll just eat it right after. It's kind of funny. But like the pine, like, like you walk in the room and she's staring at you, probably similar to your lapids kind of thing, where you're just getting stared at the whole time. And sometimes she's in a bad mood, she'll get all hissy, but like other times she'll just almost let you go in there and pick her right up, kind of thing. So it's, yeah, the intelligence on some of these animals is really fascinating. Even with the Angolans that are super snappy still, as because they're probably a year and a half old animals. they're snappy, but I think it's almost a defensive thing because once you let them kind of crawl out of the tub and let them get a feel for what's going on, they kind of like you can kind of gently get your hand in there and start moving them around. So I can't wait to get those guys into a more stimulating environment with some. After seeing what Eric got to see at Ari's with the multiple Angolan pythons and the setup with all the branches and stuff, and they're all up in the branches, it makes me want to do something similar to how, maybe not with PVC, but like how Dom made a bunch of PVC like perch things for his adult carpets, but like actually like a branch system almost in terms of PVC, not just like a stick on a thing, but like multiple, so a snake could drape on it. Like, yeah, Dom, like how are those working for you now?
I was gonna say I've done multiple. I'm up to like about 15 cages that I've done, and most of them are using it. And I tend to do everything is about at like 75% of the height of the cage, and I tend to put 2 levels, and each level has multiple perches, which a lot of crossing everywhere, so that they're used as for more laying on than just climbing. Honestly, they're using them pretty well. Some of them use them a lot, some of them don't use them at all. So, but it's been about less than a month of me putting all that. I used to just always have branches and tons of things like that, and I'll be honest, for me, it's all about convenience. Having to take out the branches, take out everything to change the paper under was a huge pain in the ass. When everything's automatically tied to the top of the cages, I now can change and clean everything out with only taking the water bowl and the hide, change the paper, put all that, and everything stays the same. So it's been working pretty well. Yeah, no complaints. So before I log, sorry, go ahead.
You can also use that plastic plant trellis as well on small enclosures as a like a web thing that works really well.
Yeah, I could see that. I was gonna say, so I'm gonna log off after this questions, and I'll leave you guys with Michael there just for this one. So my question for you guys is, obviously you guys have written multiple books, and you're very well known in that department. I'd love for you guys to tell me which one's your favorite book you've written, or is it the one you're currently working on, and maybe tell us a bit about it. I'd like to go down that avenue. And how do you guys work together, or is it only a one-sided project?
I'm the other one, so.
Wow. You're sitting beside me. Why did you ask me this? Australasian Elapids was a bit stressful. It was the first time we'd written for Chimera, and we wanted to do it well. Remember me saying he was anally retentive? There are a lot of arguments with that book. He's very scientific, and as you can tell, I'm not. I think we come together well, but it's coming together that sometimes is the hard bit.
I don't know. You seem to smile most of the
time. He seems to think that a lot of it should be scientific, and not everyone wants to or can read on that level. So I guess, for lack of a better term, I dumb it down. Proofing isn't much fun.
So what's your favorite book?
I think my favorite book, I did like Australasian Elapids, but I think it was The Field Guide to the Snakes of Australia. And that was because the little $30 ones, there's a strict guideline we have to follow. We can't deter from it. It has to go that way because I guess John has a formula and it works well for him. The last one, he hadn't done, I think there's 3 really in that.
There's only been 1 done previously to us.
No, there was 2 definitely. I think there may have been 3. We'll say 2.
The actual field guides, the all-encompassing field guide.
No, I'm talking the hardcover.
Yeah, he did lizards, and he'd done
frogs,
lizards,
frogs and amphibians, and
the amphibians in Sri Lanka was an all-encompassing book like the field guide. The lizards of Southeast Asia was a selection of lizards of Southeast Asia.
No, but it was the more the book size, the page number, and the cover. So he didn't have a format because it was as we have a domestic, as there was no format. So we got to do what we wanted to do. And so often, like, I know it's not a field guide author's fault. It's room, but there's a lot of information that could be added to it, but it's not, purely because of the size of the field guide, and the publisher wants as many species as possible, which means as little as possible really about intended species. So we didn't have that. We just kept pushing for more pages and pushing for more pages, and we got them. I actually wanted a plastic cover on a soft cover, but couldn't do that, so we went with a hard cover. But yeah, for me, it was that one, I think, because we were allowed to do what we wanted to. Not that we weren't with Comb Mirror, it was just very big book, and he was pretty anal on it. So yeah.
So for me, two different things, two completely different books. I love the field guide in that I was able to assist Ty in producing a book that is a really good field guide that actually can be used in the field. And so there's keys in it, there's maps in it, but then it's also got a large ecological element to it as well. There's a lot of ecology for a lot of the species in there. There's a heap of personal anecdotes in there as well in regards to, prey items and size and locations, things like that we were able to put in there. In addition to that, we were able to also put in some things in there in regards to what you do if you find a stranded sea snake, snakes in houses. We sort of debunked the whole most venomous snake. Snakes of Australia are much more venomous than anything else around the world, which is a complete load of bullshit.
There's space for your own notes as well.
There's some note sections in there, but the part that I really love is the fact that there's 1,200 photos in there for 200 species. There's 221 species of snake in Australia, I think it is. Sorry, 220 species of snake in Australia with another 16 subspecies, right? Each account has a full page account at a minimum for every species and subspecies. And then on top of that, most of them have got at least 4 images. Some of them, such as carpet pythons and brown snakes and stuff like that are really highly variable, have up to 20 images in there. And all of them are basically wild representatives. So they've got locality information and stuff like that. So it's a very significant book, easily available in the US via Princeton University Press as well. So that was a pretty cool thing.
Sorry. When we did that, we tried to think of back when we first started keeping, a very long time ago, what we would have found handy in a field guide. Brown snakes, for example, they're quite widespread across Australia, but it doesn't mean they are the same looking in where you go. So to be able to include all those different photos
and locality,
yeah, neonites look completely different to adults, etc., etc. So to be able to, you pick up a field guide and you decide this is what you want to do. You want to go herping. You're looking at a snake and it's keyed out to what you think it is, but it's nothing like what the picture you're looking at. So you've got, oh, is it this or not? Because that picture looks completely different. By being able to include all those photos, we were able to sort of show
some of that nuance.
Yeah.
And then from my favourite, as much as I love that book, is the Australasian Lapids. It was the book that I always wanted to write. In that it's an all-encompassing book on the husbandry of Australasian venomous snakes. But realistically, that book covers snake keeping in general too. All right, it covers housing, it covers lighting, it covers heating, it covers feeding, it covers reproduction, and the processes and the systems that are spoken about in there are equally applicable to colubrids or pythons or genodentines or dipsadids or anything those things along those lines as well. So that's a very important piece. And then on top of that, we're also some species accounts and sort of showcase the beauty of a lot of these animals. One thing that we have always tried to do is we've tried to keep in mind the reader as much as possible. So whenever we do a book, we try not to repeat the same image in another book where possible. Sometimes it's just not a feasible answer, right? There's only so many images of certain species out there, and so it's very difficult not to repeat those. But if we have the opportunity to not use that photo in another book, then we will try and use a different photo. And everyone likes to see pictures, so yeah.
I was gonna say most of us read the books for the pictures, especially reptile books. I mean, I love the content, but the pictures is everything. And what you guys were saying about field guides, I don't know, like that is probably the smartest thing I've ever heard. And to me, it's my biggest pet peeve. If I find an animal here and I'm looking, and I'm like, well, it doesn't really look like it, but it feels like it is. Like the idea of having all the different phenotypes is genius. Like it really is.
It's space though. It's not the author's fault 99.9% of the time. It is space that's allotted, unfortunately.
So what we did do in that particular case is we sacrificed the size of the image as well. It would have been nice to have like big full page or half page images.
But we got a page limit.
You've got a page limit, right? So, we ended up opting with images that are about I think they're about 40 millimeters by about 60 millimeters sort of size in regards to the images. So they're big enough that you can see them without glasses.
Some people can see them.
You can see them without glasses, but they're not the big showstopper type image. Where we were able to put some of those big showstopper style images in the oscillational leopards, where we've got full page or double page images. Yeah, so that's the naturalist guide. So that's the basic version, and that's the first edition. So
yeah, I don't think it would work to bring a 10-pound field guide with you with a gigantic book.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the little one. I'll just grab one of the field guides.
It's rolled over the dog. Oh, come here, dog.
While he does that, Mike, are you good if I log off after? You're good to keep going for the rest?
Yeah. Should be all good.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable to walk around. Listen, Scott, Ty, both always great to have you guys on. I love chatting. Ty, it's the first time we've chatted. Very nice to meet you. And
you too.
I'll listen to the rest of the show probably next. Actually, I might ask you to send it to me earlier than.
Well, you can just log on and listen to it whenever you want.
That's true. I can just log on and go listen to it. So thank you very much, guys. Have a great night.
Nice to meet you. Sweet dreams.
Take care, Ty. And Michael, make it good.
I'll try.
Oh, no pressure.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely wanted to ask you guys about the book stuff, because I know with Scott, we like the first hour and a half of the show we did with him, it like went into like UV and stuff, which honestly I think we could talk about that again too. Like this is a topic that I think needs to be hit more. And I definitely believe what you and Scott believe in terms of it being probably the better way to keep stuff outside. That's why I almost I went down the turtle rabbit hole like last month, and it's like, fuck, I want to, like, turtles are freaking amazing, and even tortoises are cool, and then lizards are cool, but then it's just like I can't keep stuff outside. Plus, I'm working 14 hours a day, so like
makes it hard.
It's hard to you want to keep these animals that are up all day, but then you won't even get to appreciate them because they're sleeping, and then you don't even know if they're doing great or not because you leave before the lights turn on, and you probably get home right as they're going to turn off, kind of thing. So that's why I think I try to stick more with snakes. But yeah,
being only able to keep what is in our own country, I guess, makes that a little bit easier. But then too, we only keep outside what we know can handle the same temperatures as what we live in. It's not like we can chuck everything outside. So there's still a fair bit inside. But
Yeah.
No.
Do you keep any lizards or stuff inside still, or do you try to just only keep stuff that can stay outside
Yeah, no lizards
for that site?
inside. We got some.
There's some pythons outside.
Yeah, the imbricata are outside. The diamonds are outside. The parentes are outside. Shinglebacks and the blue tongues are outside. Some of the blue tongues.
All those things are outside.
I've got a mind blank. Sorry, I was awake for most of last week. I mean, something is really bad, and I got a decent night's sleep last night, and it's thrown me.
I've been in the field for the last week, and so
And somebody's been at home cleaning and looking after it.
someone's been doing all the work while I've been out gallivanting around, doing hard work in the field, which isn't hard work at all. Obviously, it's a labour of love. So they're out there looking for some critters, and was somewhat successful. So yeah.
Do you want to? Where did you go? What trip? Let's jump into that.
I was in southeastern Australia, up in the high country. So we were looking. I was looking for some alpine species of reptiles and amphibians there. So there was a particular frog that I really wanted to get photos of, because we're working on the 3rd edition of our Frogs of Australia at the moment. And so we were successful in getting. I was successful in finding that particular frog that I was really happy to see. So another one off the list, so to speak. And had a cool experience. I saw dingoes and a few other bits and pieces as well, which was pretty cool. So it's always good to see dingoes as well.
I thought
That's
washing
pretty
in
cool.
dust.
So are dingoes like all over Australia now? Like obviously they came over 10,000 years ago, and now they've 90% of the country kind of thing, or are they in select parts?
Yeah, they are across the country with the exception of Tasmania. And I think they came over here, actually, I think it was 35,000 years ago is when they arrived here in Australia. And yeah, they're doing very well. But I've never seen them up in the alpine country before. I'd always seen them in other locations. So to see them in the alpine country, that's good.
Are they a different color, like the ones in Iron Range?
No, funnily enough, I thought they would be, but no, they just look the same as the other ones. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I find everything kind of fascinating in terms of, like, it doesn't just have to be reptiles, right? Like it could be mammals or birds even. Like I'm not necessarily a birder at all, but sometimes like you see a cool hawk or an owl or something, you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. Gotta stop and appreciate stuff.
The one thing that I saw up for the first time that I'd never seen before were the high country locusts, which are a poisonous locust. Poisonous in the fact that they're very distasteful, I think. But they're quite slow moving, and they're black with fluorescent orange and yellow dots all over them, with some red flash colours as well on the inside of their legs. So I'd never seen them before, so this time was the first time seeing them, so that was pretty cool. So
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I know we got Jerusalem crickets in the Okanagan here. They're like a weird cricket thing that doesn't actually like jump or anything. So that was cool the first time I saw those. Same with the first time I saw the solifuge, even though here they're about this big. Do you guys have solifuges in Australia?
Don't have any species of sun spider here in Australia, no. So none of those, no solifuges here. So
is there scorpions or no?
Yeah, a lot of scorpions. Yeah, we've got about 300 species of scorpion here.
Wow.
None of them are. Oh, there's one species that has knocked somebody off the perch, but it's probably more likely an anaphylactic reaction in that regard. So yeah.
That's so fascinating. I had a feeling you guys had scorpions. For some reason, it's like you think Australia is just, as like an outsider, sometimes you think because certain things don't get there that you think, okay, well, maybe nothing gets there in terms of like you get like solifuges, right? And they don't. You guys have some, like you guys have huntsmans and that, but then you don't really have true like tarantulas, maybe, or do you up north?
Tarantulas, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got Saglicus. Seneglyphus is a species from over here. So ours are fairly similar. Our tarantulas are on a similar clade to some of the Asiatics. So the old world, they're not like the new world tarantulas that are a little bit laid back. Our stuff is nuts. It's not super toxic for the most part, but they will ruin your day if they get a hold of you. The main spider genera in the tarantulas that we've got are things like Selenocosmia, Selenotyphus, Phylogenius, and then there's a couple of others as well. But all fast-moving, fairly large species. We've got some arid-adapted species, and then we've got some rainforest ones as well. Not as big as like Mexican red knees or baboons or something like that. So, our largest females are probably that round in size, sort of leg span. So,
that's still a pretty good size.
Yeah, the thorax and the abdomen. The abdomen's probably half the size of a kiwi fruit, I suppose. So 40 millimeters long by about 35 millimeters wide, and the carapace would be 25 millimeters wide and about 30 millimeters long. And then the leg span, each leg's probably 125 to 150 mil long, depending on which of the legs it is. So it ends up being a spider that's 25 to 30 centimeters total leg span, I suppose.
That's a foot. That's pretty big.
Well, it's a big spider, but they're not as big as like the baboons or big Mexican red knees or anything like that. They're like that size smaller, I suppose.
Yeah. That's still cool. Did you guys ever keep spiders at all, or not really?
Yeah, we worked with them a little bit. I wasn't a huge fan of them. Someone likes them a lot more than me.
But the kids are terrified of spiders, so I didn't keep any.
That's what the snake room's
We had funnel webs and stuff like that.
Yeah. We did have funnel webs and stuff like that. Centipedes are pretty cool.
Yeah, centipedes creep me out, but they are pretty cool. Like they're one of those things that it's like yeah.
I wouldn't want to get tagged by one, but watching them eat a pinky mouse is pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, they're
you see them after rain sometimes out west, and they've grabbed frogs, right? So they're running around with this frog in the air, right? And they're holding the frog off the ground while they're munching on it, and they're just running around. It's nuts. And we've got centipedes over here. The Scolopendras. Yeah, Scolopendra. We've got Scolopendra here that get to like 250 millimeters long, sort of thing. So they're not quite like the giant Asian ones or the giant South American ones that get to like 450 millimeters. These things sort of max out at around the 250 to 280 millimeter mark.
That's still a good size. Although 400 millimeters, that's huge. It's a big,
they're like some of the big ones. They're not. We don't have them that big in Australia.
Yeah. It's just
the largest ones we have here makes out like 200 and 250 mil sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
It must have been sorry.
Actually, in the Okanagan here, they're not Scolopendra, but one night road cruising, we pulled over and I was like just walking around the side of the road, and it was probably like some sort of centipede that was about this big. That it wasn't a Scolopendra because it didn't have like a huge head on it, but it was still like a maybe a 200 millimeter, like probably a little smaller than that, but like it was weird. I didn't realize we had that, and then you look at INAT and they're like, oh yeah, they've been found up in Salmon Arm, just like a little like further north and stuff. It's like, oh wow, like I didn't even know that existed up here, because like we only have the one species of scorpion which comes up into BC a little bit, and then all over Alberta and Saskatchewan in the southern parts, that same species of scorpion goes up there. Like, so arachnids for us is pretty limited, and black widows are kind of everywhere in the desert part, but they're not really anything to worry about for the most part. So we have limited
We've got
options with that.
latrodectors here. We've got latrodectors here. Obviously, Asolite, which is the Australian redback spider. So, yeah.
I grew up in the bush, so I'm used to looking before sitting or putting shoes on, or yeah.
It sucks to get bitten by those things too. Redbacks fucking hurt.
Yeah, I luckily haven't got bit by any spiders at all, so I'm good there.
I have an autoimmune disease, so a huntsman now knocks me on my ass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, are those huntsmen actually living in your guys' houses or no? Like, I feel like that's just a fake thing.
Yeah, we've got huntsmen in our house all the time.
Yeah.
So like, are they like normal ones, or are they?
All the huntsmen we get are like that round.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's like a normal house spider.
An orange, I suppose.
Okay.
So
a little
we'd had an
prettier than the
argument.
stuff we got here.
Oh yeah, they're decent.
Yeah,
We'd had an argument and I wasn't talking to him, and I got in, and so I went and had a shower, got out the shower and the towel on my face, and I thought my fingernails are getting long, and I looked at my fingernails and they're all really short, and this huge huntsman come flying out the towel, put the huntsman on my face when I dried my face, and it bit me right on the top with and I reacted to it. I felt a bit seedy, massive headache and whatnot. And I tell Scott like 2 days later, and he's like, well, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, we weren't talking. And he's like, no, things like that you need to talk about. Yeah, they're
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they're nothing to worry about, but they are quite commonly everywhere.
Yeah, like we just got normal like house spiders and wolf spiders. Going out in the Okanagan, like probably like the middle of Australia, there's wolf spiders everywhere. Like you try to eye shine a little bit, and there's just wolf spiders crawling around. So that's kind of fun how you can relate in ways. Although we don't have any cool geckos to eye shine here.
Yeah, but you got cool frogs.
Yeah. Living here in Vancouver, it's like awesome because we got definitely have a bunch of amphibian species because it's right where the die camps, the giant salamanders, come just up a little east of here, and then we got redbacks are everywhere. I found melanistic redbacks, that was cool, and then we got some ambistomas, which are super cool to find too. Like during big rainstorms, you can find them crossing roads if there's ditches on either side. Plus, you'll find the chorus frogs jumping too, and then you got the red-legged frogs. Obviously, you got bullfrogs and green frogs. Kind of in the summer, you see a lot of those guys, but in the normal rainy season, you'll see more of the native stuff. So yeah, you see all
we don't have any cornates, right? So you're talking about things like ambistoma and stuff like that. I'm sitting there going, how cool is that?
Yeah, Ansatinas are freaking cool too. They're like we got just the normal organs, and like flipping a log and finding a wee little baby Ansatina, and the babies have a different color to them. Like are they more like a grayish, like a blue, or I don't know. They have like an off color, and their tails are like orange. But then as soon as they get a little bigger, they kind of turn into their adult orangey color, which is like super cool. But you don't realize how tiny they are until you find like a little tiny baby that's probably just hatched out that spring. Because you can find them here, like it's like 3 degrees out and pouring rain in February, and everything's moving. They're spawning on the road. It's like it doesn't like, as long as it's not actually freezing, they're out moving. So you can kind of go. You guys can come by Vancouver anytime and find stuff.
Well, it's pretty cold herping where I was. It was pretty cold herping where I was because there was snow. There was still snow on the ground where I was herping, so that's cold enough.
Yeah, no.
Me and Cody were standing here with like it had stormed the night before and that day, and Scott FaceTimes us and he's like, "Look," and we're like, "Fuck off! It's hot here. Go away."
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
it was not hot where I was. It was very cold. So
yeah, I've been debating moving to Alberta. It's like, well, it's cheaper there, and I can buy a house and have a big reptile room, but negative 40 degrees is not fun.
Ooh, yeah, no.
But I could drive 5 minutes and go find prairie rattlesnakes and bull snakes. Maybe even horned lizards and hognose. So it's like, that would be cool for half the year. The other half the year, I better get good at keeping stuff in my basement. I don't know. I love living in
Um,
Vancouver because you got mountains and water everywhere. It's nice. You can
Beautiful.
drive half an hour and go look for stuff. Probably similar to how you guys are. I've never been to Australia, but Brisbane seems to be like that. You can drive not too far and you're into the outback kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I get lost easily, so I'm just going to say yes.
Do you guys have any herp trips coming up this year? Like any more that you're kind of booked, or any vacation days that you might go drive for a day out of town kind of thing?
So I
It's like 14 dollars.
I bought a puppy. He's an Neo-Mastiff, and I'm 50. I've had dogs since I was 4. I've never ever had a dog with separation anxiety. Ron has separation anxiety. So Scott's been going off here, there, and everywhere, and I've been at home with Brun. So no, I don't have anything planned.
If you had something planned, it was the pin has been sold. What is either not?
Yeah, yeah. I'm lucky to get to the gym each morning. That's it.
Yeah, our dogs
And Scott
suck right up to us. Although they
yeah.
usually just go and pout when their favorite person leaves.
Well, the whole neighborhood hears when I leave.
So yeah, I've got some frog trips planned and a lizard trip planned, and I've got a 50th birthday herping thing planned as well, which will be next year. So that's a fair way off though. But yeah, so I spoke to the guy about that yesterday, what you say, the day before, and yeah, so that's cemented to a point, but we've got to figure out the logistics of it all, and you know how big a present Todd getting out of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, fuck, it doesn't sound cheap.
There'll be a few dollars.
Is this going to be the NPR trip to the Kimberley or no? Or you've already done
I don't know
that?
if the NPR people going on or not. So, but yeah, probably be Kimberley, where it's where exactly and how. And
That'd be
all
cool.
the rest of it, we've got time constraints and money constraints. So.
Wow, I'm getting a big fucking present.
So with like a trip, like if you want, like, so your perfect trip to the Kimberley, what are you trying to hit? Like, there's roughies there, but like, what else are you trying to see? You're probably not going just for one animal.
So the issue that we've got is that we were going to go to, the plan was going to go to Iron Range and go and get green pythons. The reason
I got told this hadn't really been talked about.
it's not really been talked about.
Plan was, but now it is.
So the thought was chasing green pythons. The reason we're changing our mind on that is that cane toads are fast approaching the sites that where we want to get into in the Kimberley, and it'd be good to see that before the toads get in there. So that's the plan, basically. Get in there and see what it's like before the toads fucking join. So yeah, as I understand it, it's not going to be many people. I think it's basically myself and a couple of others. That's it. So
those seem to be the best trips.
It's just a nightmare to add more people to it, I suppose, particularly in remote locations.
Oh, for sure. If somebody's flight gets messed up, and that might kind of shuffle plans even there, right? And then just having multiple people, somebody gets sick, right? Like, I'm assuming you've been on bigger trips that I've never experienced it. So yeah.
Well, these are trips into places that are fucking wild. To be fair, and we're going in there and we're there knocking around with venomous snakes, right? You fuck up out there, there is a very real chance you come home in a box.
Make sure your shit's sorted before you leave, darling.
So, it's to give people an idea of how far we're talking. It's like 400 kilometers to the nearest town. And it's a little town on 4-wheel drive roads that can take 80 kilometers takes 6 hours on the road.
I must admit,
Right.
that was one thing that
So
spun me out when we
it's-
went to Germany, like being able to get to different
places,
like different countries in a couple of hours. Like here, you can't get to a different state. Oh, I suppose you can get to a different state in a couple of hours, but it's a hell of a drive. It's like Europe was a breeze.
It was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
To go into multiple states in
countries.
Multiple countries. Sorry, in hours.
Yeah. Whereas here, it's like unless you fly, you're talking days in the car. And I guess I've just taken it for granted because.
So I can drive non-stop in Queensland for 24 hours and still be in Queensland.
And we're just used to that. So when we were I'll take you.
I think we'd be able to drive to like almost Manitoba in 24 hours.
You don't realize how big it is.
Takes like 9. Sorry. If I drive straight and only stop to pee and gas, I probably don't even need to gas up my truck. I could probably get there in one shot to Calgary, and that's still like a 9-10 hour drive in the summer. Like right now, it's winter. Who knows how the passes are? Like it might be an extra couple hours if there's some. You can't go as fast, and there's some
so
accidents or something.
Yeah, you can easily drive 2,000 kilometers over 2 days and still be in the same state.
Yeah, that's
so big distances.
That's hard to believe. Actually, no. I guess BC you can too,
Texas
though.
Is big.
Yeah,
not even close. And
actually, British Columbia is pretty big.
If you go onto like Google Maps, right, and it tells you how long it takes to drive from one place to another, right? For a laugh, we put in WA. We said Perth to up in the northern part of WA, and that was like a 72-hour drive on Google Maps, right? So that's no stops or anything like that. That's 72 hours constantly on the wall.
Yeah, that's definitely a drive. I think probably to get to like Yukon is probably like a 2 and a bit day drive for here, because I know Prince George is like what most people here think is like the top of BC, but it's only barely halfway up. And that's like what we think is like northern BC, but then there's that whole part. There's like a few small towns, right, and probably just mining areas, kind of like Australia, except it's a lot colder for most of the year, and like you could drive for days.
Fast, so to speak.
Yeah.
We just happen to have herbs. You guys have got bears.
We
got bears and garter snakes everywhere.
Canada's high on my list, and it's not high on Scott's because of the bears.
Well, I want to get eaten by a bear. I can think of a lot of other things that I would
you
rather
barely
do.
see bears. That's fine.
Exactly. That's what I keep telling him.
You see taipans, it's fine.
But the dog. I've got to be able to leave the dog first, haven't I?
You guys just have to spend a few days here, and I could probably get you most of. If you came in the winter, I can get you the caudats and that, and then if you came in the summer, I could maybe get you a Norpack and a rubber boa.
Okay.
Oh my God! Give us a bear, and I'll love you forever.
Oh, we could probably see a bear on the way to go see the Okanagan. It's a 3-hour drive inland. Usually there's bears on the side of the highway. Sometimes, maybe a moose.
I just got stink eye.
I'd be more worried about.
Would you?
Mooses fucking kill people.
Actually, yeah. We were out in the Okanagan.
Drive into moose, and if you hit a moose, you're hit. The car is hit. It's not coming back.
Actually, out there in the Okanagan, it's deer. There's freaking deer. Like you get in there at night sometimes, and there's like at one time I went out there, and there's like we passed like 40 deer that were like halfway on the road. It's like I've never had this before, but tonight they've decided to just jump out in the middle of the road, and you see the odd dead one just ballooned up on the side. You're like, ugh. Well, that one wasn't too lucky. Yeah, that is definitely a hazard though. Pardon me?
Anytime I go away, I get the roo lecture. Like, rah, 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 you know how to drive around roos, rah, rah, rah. I've never hit a roo, mind you. 2 work trips ago, he hit a roo in the work. But roos suck here. It's like they play chicken. Do you guys have chicken? Yeah. So it's like they play chicken. They wait. They sit there and they wait until they see the car coming up, and then they're like, "Yep, I'm going for it." And for me,
Yeah,
I
that's
read
the
once.
One
deer.
yesterday, going down the middle of the fucking road and then turned in front of me. I was like, "You fucker!" Oh, like I'd slow down. I knew that he was going to be a problem. I just didn't realise how big a problem he was going to try and make himself. And so I was like, "Right, that's it. You're done." So yeah.
I read once years ago that some guy had hit a roo and the back leg went through the windscreen and the claw cut his throat open. So that's what I think about every time with roos. I don't give a flying fuck about the damage to the car. What I think about is that story I read, and I was like, yeah, no.
So
Wow.
vehicle accidents that result in death over here, from kangaroos and emus, are between 10 and 15 per year over here. So there's 10 to 15 people die every year from kangaroos and emus, and they both happen to be the 2 animals sitting on our coat of arms in Australia.
We control the
We eat them.
population.
Population control, and they're delicious.
Apparently, we're the only
Yeah.
country that eats their national emblems.
I keep joking with
Fun
my
fact for
parents
you.
that they should start an emu farm. Emus are pretty cool. I remember when I did an internship at the zoo back in high school. It was fun to the one emu that was a dick, and the other one was super nice.
I got chased by one when I was 6. I hate them. Still scared of them.
Yeah, they definitely are intimidating. It's like when the other the one keeper that sometimes take care of the lions and tigers. It's like, yeah, I don't necessarily feel safe in there. It's like, oh, what are you talking about? And then you go in there and you're like, yeah, I'm not sure if I trust this steel cage in front of me. These things are huge and they are powerful.
The animal's got to be a dick if the lion tamer's saying that.
Oh yeah.
The scariest animals are a lot of wildlife parks.
Cassowaries, yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those are the cassowaries. I think are the only bird on the actual fully legal list here. I think.
Yeah, and fair enough
believe.
too. They're nuts.
Oh yeah.
Tourists put their
murder
lives in their
turkeys.
hands pretty regularly here with them.
Yeah.
Just-
How did you guys like get started in like obviously like you, Scott, you wanted to write the Australasian Elapids book, but like what triggered you guys to actually write it? What started that book writing journey for you guys, and then now it's kind of obviously escalated into many books, and you're still writing, and you're probably going to write many more.
Yeah. Yep. So I suppose what it started off was we were writing articles and popular articles and papers for magazines and journals and stuff, right? And just recording information. And, we found it as a way of disseminating information.
You really like that word, don't you?
And then, because it's good communication, right? And then so then we've taken that, and then we've been able to take that and turn that into, one book, turn into 2 books, which turned into 10 books. So yeah, that's where we started. It's basically just the same process.
So when you guys so how does it work now? Do you go to these because you have 2 publishers you kind of work with, I'm assuming, with Chimera and then the Australian Geographic, or is it
So that's John Beffoy Publishing. Australia Geographic used to just
No, a part of it.
Yeah.
No, a part of it. So we've got John Beffoy Publishing, which is where the Field Guide and the Naturalist Guide series has been published. And then we've got Edition Chimera, that has the Australasian Leopards title under its belt. I also did books under the banner of Reptile Publications, which was a venture that was they were originally financed in the bird industry doing captive bird stuff. So they started doing captive reptile stuff. So I published with them, and then our latest work is actually published with CSIRO, which is the Commonwealth Scientific Institute for Research organisation. So it's the Australian government one. And so we're a chapter author of a new book that's coming out midway through next year on that as well. So that's all submitted and done. And then we've got the third edition of frogs, and then a couple of other projects that are in various states of completion, shall we say. We're sort of pushing to get to the pointy end on those a little bit too.
Definitely one of them.
So, yeah.
I think the other one's a bit further off.
So you're working on multiple books at the same time. Now you've expanded into 4. Wow, that's but that's also why you're going on some of your trips, right? Is to collect some photos and also get a better feel for some of it too, so you can do a better.
Yeah, so it's every time you go
and for your own selfishness.
Every time you go into the field, you're increasing your knowledge, and
absence makes the heart grow fonder, doesn't it, darling?
And that applies to everything. So whether it be, if we're working on lizards, if we're working on frogs, if we're working on snakes, we have target species that we're going to chase and stuff like that, I suppose, to see that we really want to see. And that's usually species that either Ty or myself haven't seen before. It's always nice to see new things. But it is also important to go back and see other things that you've already seen and confirm so your understandings on various bits and pieces as well. So, getting out into the field and seeing that stuff is important.
We firmly believe that seeing the animals you keep in the wild gives you a better grip on husbandry, gives you better parameters and more understanding. So we try and incorporate that as much as we possibly can in any husbandry guide we do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I think also for everybody, I think for us as like people who want to connect with nature, you definitely appreciate, even if like you're like busy, caught up in life, and you're doing work stuff and you're caught up, and then you can finally actually get out there, even if you're like, I don't know if I should go. I got this to do, and we got this project going on. And then you can get there and you can kind of just relax and focus, focus on one thing, hang out with a few good friends or family, right? Like you can just get back to ground zero, and all the extras in life are kind of gone. And yeah, I definitely miss herping because I didn't even really go last year.
I think it helps your mental health as well. Certainly in my case, it helps my mental health. Probably helps Ty's mental health because I'm not as
because you're not as there. Oh yeah, no. My bad.
Yeah, I think definitely in many ways that's what I was trying to get at. Definitely the mental health thing too. Just as we are, as I think that's how we almost justify keeping reptiles too, is the fact that it keeps us connected to nature, but then you still need the nature part in there too, right? Need that.
But like we're photographers as well, and the thing that I like about the photos is that someone picks up like that book, right, and they're looking at the photos throughout that, and the photos throughout that are images that we take probably 70% of the images that are in these books are our photos, and so they're our memories, they're our time that we've been out and we've seen this stuff, and so you'll go and you'll look at a photo, and then from that photo it'll remind you of a memory, and that memory could be going on a trip and having a random dog come up to you that wants to put in the fucking car.
It was skinny. It needed a home.
Or it could be a fox on the side of the road or something like that, right? There's all sorts of little things that you look at the photos and it's this sort of note, I suppose, to sell.
Or the whatchamacallit, the thing in the front, the
dedication.
dedication. That's it. Sorry, refer back to lack of sleep.
Yeah, so you're going to have a laugh with dedications, things like that as well. It just gives you that opportunity to write the book that you want to write, and improve things for someone, right? So you've got the first edition of the Naturalist Guide, right? As an example, the carpet python section has got, I think from memory, it's got like 4 photos, maybe.
There's the third, yeah.
So there's 12 photos for carpet pythons there.
Where are you?
And over 2 pages, I think there's 5 from memory.
Great glasses, I can't really see.
Yeah, I think you got 5 photos here, and then
5
one for
photos,
Imbricata and one for McCaffrey.
4 or 5, yeah.
So this has got 12 images of carpet pythons. It has 4 images of Imbricata. It's got 4 images of McCaffrey, 4 images of Predley, and 4 images of rough scale pythons in it as well. So, so the whole idea of that was so that we had multiple images and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah,
But
nice.
they're on less pictures.
Yeah, I think that book definitely seems also a lot thicker than this one. Like seeing the oh yeah, definitely has all the more pictures in it for all of us that like. I love reading a good book, although I need to get better at reading. I did well last like Christmas break. I read like 2 books. I read that Rom Whitaker one that he came out with. That was fantastic. I really like that one. And then I read
Which one was that one?
Sorry, this one.
Snakes. It's like Snakes, Drugs, and
Snake, Drugs, and
Rock and
Sex
Roll.
and Rock and Roll or something.
Yeah. That fantastic book. I really liked it. And then I read like a Kyle Petty book for like NASCAR or something. And then I tried to read the Darwin, like the evolution book or one of those ones.
Yep.
And just reading it is like, okay, I got to read all these pages like twice just to like get a feel for it. And that kind of like stunted my reading because it just wasn't. It's not something you can just like sit down and relax. You actually have to like focus on it. And then,
do you like Australian herbs?
Yeah, I do like Australian herbs. Like I might not. So I can only have a Walma python, but I need to.
There's a book called Song of the Snake, right, by Eric Worrell. You need to find that. So Song of the Snake by Eric Worrell. It is a series of, I think there's 20 chapters in the book. Each one is like a story on herping in Australia in the mid to late 1900s, right? And there are some amazing stories in there. So, and it reads incredibly well.
I do love those books. Like I love Trumbauer's books. That's why, like, I also really want at least one of the Caulfield books because I think I would enjoy that too. I read the Caulfield letters. I read that book last year too because I got that for Christmas. I read that immediately. It was a quick read, but it was still a good read. Like it was cool to kind of get that different perspective in there. But it definitely makes me like, okay, I need that book. Stolen World was another good read several years ago. Although now it's like, oh yeah, it's like that name means this guy. Like what was it? Benjamin Bucks. I now realize who that is. And
Maybe not now, maybe later.
No.
maybe goes with price, I'm assuming.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Well, you had, yeah, well, I'll say it now because he's dead. In
Yeah.
Stolen World,
Yeah.
right? Stefan Schwartz is Peter Krause.
Exactly. That's I saw that. I saw that immediately. And was, oh yeah, that's what that means. I remember that.
So, in my copy of that, it's written from Stefan Schwartz. So when Peter signed the book for me, he referred to it as Stefan Schwartz. So that's a bit of a laugh there, and I've got Crutchfield. He's signed into that one as well. So
he
both
did.
of those guys.
He didn't get upset about signing that one. I feel like
he was fine. He just signed it straight away. So Crutchfield signed that one, and so there's two others in that one. There's I think it's Hank Malt and someone else in that one. But yeah, so we've got that. And then you got the Lizard King by Brian Christie's a good read too. You haven't read it.
I need that one for sure, and I need Dragon Traders. I need those. Actually, I want to talk to Michael Berger because he did some work up here in Canada. After listening to him at his episode on NPR, it's like, I need to have him just to maybe learn a bit about the Canadian herp hobby back in the 80s and 90s when he was up here. Because that would have been cool to know because not a lot of those guys are around. So it'd be fascinating to learn that. Plus, nobody's really done an annulated Trebo episode, so that would be cool too.
There you go.
Yeah.
So is that his thing? Is it annulated Trebos?
Yeah, I think that's his Facebook page picture. And whenever Jeff Murray refers to somebody you need to talk to annulated Trebos about, he always refers to him for some reason. So yeah, I think he doesn't. It's not like he has a massive collection, but I assume he has. I think in that episode he said he had like 15, 20 animals, maybe just annulated. But he kept like what is it? Those cool Tropodophis from the West Indies. Those are fascinating.
I think keeping those the Tropodophis, the keeled nose boas.
Yeah. Those are
bleak nose boas, maybe.
Yeah. They're the ones that bleed out of their eyeballs when they're threatened, I think.
Yeah. There's those, and then you've also got the Ungulophis as well, and sort of similar to that as well.
Yeah, we had that Zach Whitman show that might never come out. That one was also he has Ungulophis, and we were talking about it, and now it'll never be aired. Those are another cool one. Even I love all the weird stuff.
You picked out a really good one in the chat as well. So Many Snakes, So Little Time is a great book by Rick Shine.
I really like John Cairns one. Snakes.
Historical Snakies.
Yeah, Historical Snakies is really good.
The other one that's coming out is Rick's actually got a new one coming out on Snakes of Australia as well. So that'll be a pretty amazing title that's coming out very soon.
Are you making a list?
Yeah. I gotta write it down or else I'm gonna forget it tomorrow.
I know a good bookshop.
Yeah, I keep looking at your site. It's like I probably need to just like do like an order and like spend like $1,000 and just like do like a big order, make the shipping worth
Freight's
it.
insane at the moment. Its freight went up like everywhere, not just America sort of point of view, but everywhere.
Oh yeah, like FedEx and UPS. I just ordered shirts from Smitty. UPS charged me $50 for a broker fee on just
what?
Like since when the hell was that a thing? Like I get the tariff thing, but then they charge like a broker fee on it. It's like a $200 order turns into $300. Like
DHL, Chimera sends us through DHL, and he sent me an email saying just to let you know, freight went up nearly $70 in one go.
Oh wow!
Sorry, €70 in one go.
140.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's even more.
Yeah.
That's like $100.
Yeah.
And guess who gets to pay for that?
And Andreas is like family, so I know he's not just trying to make a buck out of us. You know what I mean? Like he did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is it almost easier for you guys just to ship like a pallet of books over, or something
Oh,
to him directly, and then he ships out.
When we did Australasian leopards, we thought that sea, because it takes so much fucking time, would be cheaper. There's so many hidden costs, like
storing fees, brokerage fees,
touching the ground on the port. That was huge. And then it's what sort of thing you're importing. Lucky it was educational, because it would have cost triple what if it was a fun book. I can't remember how the email was worded, but it was pretty like
when we got the final tally of it, it would have been cheaper just to get them mailed eventually.
Yeah, it was insane. And it took so long too. We felt so bad because we did a pre-order, and obviously people have paid for it, because we had no intention of doing a bookshop back then. So we were only going to get in. We usually do the 100. And so we did the 100 thinking it would be cheaper on everyone. And yeah, it turned out, okay, cost of living has gone up hugely since then. But yeah, it turned out to be pretty shit. We should have just flown them in, yeah.
Oh yeah, your stuff's pretty expensive too.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, like Vancouver is almost as like Sydney and Vancouver are like the two most expensive places to live, I think.
Oh wow!
I think that was the one thing though that we were really excited about with Princeton picking up the snakes in Australia. It meant that so many people in the US could get it at a very reasonable price, being Princeton University Press. So, at the end of the day, right, we're not so much worried about making money from the book. We're more interested in making sure it gets into the hands of people. And Lisa, as an example in the chat, actually contributed a photo to the book. So, it's not just our book. It's a book that is impacted by so many people. Because so many people assist us with those ones. We've got photographers that have helped us from the very start all the way through, always providing images to us and stuff like that. And
never a problem, and it's coming on time, and it is what it says it's going to be. The image, and
the time that it takes to take those images, like, we appreciate. We know how long it takes to make those photos, so we take them ourselves. And so, the amount of effort that others have helped us with is
phenomenal.
And then same too with the reviews as well. All our books are peer reviewed. All our papers are peer reviewed. Before they are submitted to publishers, before they are submitted to journal editors, they've all been peer reviewed well and truly beforehand, and then then they may go through another peer review process after that as well. So ensures that the information is accurate.
Except for the odd typos.
But honestly, like the odd typo is probably not the end of the world. At least you know it's the real copy then.
That was it. That was one thing for us that we're very happy that we were able to produce these things before ChatGPT was a thing, because I would suggest now that a lot of the books that come out, people are going to sit there and go, well, was that written by them, or was it, did that person write that book, or did ChatGPT write that book? So that's a whole nother tentative concern.
Yeah, I always feel like sometimes I wanted to write, sometimes I feel like I want to write something or do something. I guess that's why I started a podcast, the help of Dominic, because it's like I want to do something, but then I know I'm busy, and then I don't necessarily have an education, although I know Scott doesn't necessarily have an education in writing either, or Ty, right? So it's but then I theoretically could do it, but I'm also not necessarily. I was never the best at English. Like math and science was always easy for me, but English was one of those kind of iffy subjects. So it was tough to want to do it. That's why I do a podcast, even though I'm still not great at articulating what I want to ask or say. So
that's why I have all my questions and
harder.
stuff.
I think you did pretty well. Pretty good job.
I appreciate it, although sometimes when you're we're in the Snakes and Stogies group chat and you're like, oh yeah, I know this, and this, and this. It's easier to think about it when you're not actually on it. and you remember like, oh yeah, Phil said this 200 episodes ago about this subject that I still remember, and then you remember it, and then like that stuff seems easy, but then when you're like on the spot, especially in stuff like this, makes it, some of it's easier, some of it's harder, right? Like the book stuff, you got to really lock in, do proper grammar, right? Like you say, and then just writing it how you want it and giving it your own voice too, right? Like you want the book to have a voice, and yeah, like I wouldn't mind doing like, even if I did like
don't give too much love to Smitty and Phil.
I know they just roll with the flow, but they, yeah.
We've both got a level of both Phil and Justin. So
honestly, though, doing both, I'd say the podcast is harder. Like you don't know what's coming back at you. I discovered on our Christmas episode, I cannot do it on the fly. I have to have a question or two written down because I'm fucking awkward naturally. So then if there's nothing there, I'm like, oh God, what do I say? No, we've been so bad. No, we've been
so sluck on our podcast.
No, it might have been the last one. Oh,
I can send this to you guys to release as your show. I could always do that.
From the boys.
Oh, we could do Oscar spot and do that.
You could do you could do the 60 seconds under the basking spot.
Send it to us, because what we will do is we'll actually
do it as a joint collaboration.
Do it as a joint one anyway. Why not? So do you want to do that? Because I reckon we could do those questions. So Michael, are you ready for 60 seconds under the basking spot?
I'm probably as ready as I could be.
Excellent. All right. Let's see how we go from memory. So coffee or tea?
Coffee.
60 seconds.
Coffee? Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Watch the movie or read the book?
Read the book.
Fantasy or horror?
Fantasy.
Okay. What else have you got?
You go. You're doing really well considering it's my segment. Go for it.
Jesus, do you want to go? Or
go for it. Go for it.
All right. I know what the last one is, but I can't remember any others. Have you got any others?
Oh, there's a heap of others.
Come on, off you go then.
Do you auto or automatic or manual?
Automatic.
Same. I usually do the sweet and savory one. I know it's been that long.
4-wheel drive or sports car?
4-wheel drive.
Sleep with the fan on or off?
On in the summer.
Right or left side of the bed?
Left.
Tidy or messy? This is way longer than 60 seconds. You get about every question we've ever asked. Same.
All right, and last but not least, does pineapple go on a pizza?
Only with barbecue sauce.
Excellent. So our pineapple on pizza question is fairly significant. We've done quite well.
I can tell who I want to eat with and who I don't.
I never order it, but what is it? Domino's has like one of the barbecue sauce on it, and honestly, pineapple with barbecue sauce and ham is not too bad.
Not too bad.
but it's also a sweet sauce, right? So it kind of goes with that sweet flavor, right? So that kind of helps.
Titus doesn't like pineapple. I think it's amazing. So
I love fresh pineapple is even better.
Yes, heaps better than canned stuff. 100%.
Oh yeah.
So I suppose, Michael, obviously you've got a fairly varied collection as well. What other stuff do you keep?
Well, I got newts. I got a pair of newts because I always wanted them. So I got the new Rugus crocatus, the yellow spotted ones from Azerbaijan, I guess. I don't know. They're probably from a couple of those countries in there. Subox, Kentucky pines, Bahama boas, one Wama. I just got Bismarck rings, a pair, and then I got a pair of Angolans this summer too. Kenyan sand boas, black milk snake, Baird's rat. And then I keep some fish too. I got some aquariums going, and I finally started breeding those. So I try to keep a variety of things.
The Bismarcks are a really interesting snake, because the koalas have got that ability to produce hairballs, like light bulb.
Yeah, yeah,
So
right. Like
they'll
that.
actually regurgitate hairballs and stuff like that.
Yeah, mine are pretty small still, although they're mostly eating like fuzzy. The female just jumped up to fuzzies, and she's only a year old. They're fascinating though. Like they're like a colubrid. Like they're not really a python. Like the way they act, and they're skittish. Like they more dart around. They're not. They'll stand up and box you up a little bit, but
Yeah.
they're not just like like an Angolan or something that's just gonna like kind of s up at you and maybe just come out of the tub. Like that's
Are they
also where
still black and
Angolans
orange?
the female isn't because she's like a year, so she's already
Yeah.
faded out. But the male's like this year's baby, so he's still bright orange and black, which is pretty neat. Although I don't mind how they look. Like I know people kind of hate on them for dulling out, although some don't dull out as much. But I think it's still like a cool looking snake, and
They're
I'm
beautiful
happy
snakes.
with them. Yeah, although I love the Angolans, even though they're Dominic got rid of his to my buddy, but yeah, they're cool. It's cool seeing. It would be cool to see Angolans in the wild, just how variable their patterning is, right? With how some of them get super light, others get weird, funky patterns on them, and even the dark ones look cool. I don't know. They're not like a ball. They're definitely different than a ball python in terms of they want to if they want to fuck you up, they want to fuck you up, and then they're inquisitive, and I think as soon as I'm gonna give them a shelf and some branches and stuff, or a couple shelves probably, in like a
Yeah.
nice 4 foot by 2 foot, because they're maybe 2 years old, so they're only maybe 2.5 feet right now, but they'll probably
Yeah.
use every little bit of it. So I'm excited to see how much like a carpet that like Owen says his are freaking everywhere. Like the Angolans he has use every inch of their cage. So I'm excited to see how they go.
Awesome. I mean, they're such a different animal. I mean, apparently herping Angola is pretty hardcore as well. Apparently, it's a pretty
Oh yeah,
politically unstable place.
I'll probably go to Namibia first, even though that's probably still requires some guides.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of guys that do a lot of herp stuff in Namibia. So maybe linking up with those guys, you might be able to get out and do some herp stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Although I really want to do like I want to do like a West Texas trip with like either probably Rob Stone, just so I can experience that and get the shit kicked out of me walking up a hill. Even though I could probably stand because I'm only 24. I turned 24 in December, so I could probably withstand a bit of abuse with those guys. But I think I also want to come to Australia one day and spend at least a week there, kind of thing, and go on a nice herb trip there and just see something different and experience something different in a safe place.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. Well,
awesome.
I mean, we're just getting a lot of thunder right now, so we might have to love you and leave you.
No worries. I think it's getting what is it? It's 8:30 here now, so it's not too late. But yeah, it's got work tomorrow too and stuff. So thank you for joining us, Scott. How do you guys and Ty? Obviously, Scott, you had to leave work, but we wanted Ty on today because Ty didn't get to come on the first time, and we needed to hear
Dad died like a day before or something. Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely understandable. We definitely don't hold anything against you. We totally understand, and we definitely need you guys back on again in the future for how your book stuff goes and more herping stories and all that fun stuff.
We'd like you on ours.
Just good debates too. I love debating people now. Like Philip's episode last week. I think that was really awesome. We just Dominic and him just went at it for like 2 hours. Oh yeah, you guys need to probably go back on a show again because I think you guys would have another fantastic conversation.
It was good fun the first time. I'm sure it'll be good in a second. So,
Oh yeah,
awesome, mate. All
So
right.
how do people want to
having
reach out to
this-
you?
Oh,
Yeah, if they want to get onto us, they say
the website, you can jump on the website and hit the contact me. You can do which yeah, I know what it is, which is www.wildlifedemonstrations.com. Nature for You on Facebook or Instagram.
Awesome.
or you can just message Ty directly. He loves that. When random message her.
With no manners, it's great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, book now. Send book.
How much? You
Send book to
sell.
Germany. Awesome.
Sure.
Well, thank you guys very much, and
Thank you.
you can reach out to Dominic at Dominic Carbino on Facebook, or Dom's Reptiles on Instagram and Facebook, possibly. He's gonna make fun of me after this for that. And then you can reach out to me through the Reptile Rejects Instagram, or just reach out to me through Instagram on that. That's the easiest. And then
Sure.
also look us up on all the podcasting platforms. And if you're watching this on the podcasting platforms, go follow us on YouTube and subscribe. And then you can watch our lives. We try to do them every Sunday at 5. But for this week, you guys have an amazing week, and we'll see you guys next week with